Hello guys, welcome to Mark's Shrimp Tanks. Today we're going to be setting up the greenhouse tanks. I did the same thing last year. Isn't it a beautiful day here today? Look at this. Isn't it gorgeous today? Anyway, so we've done this garden. My wife and my son did most of the digging. What's different about this year's one is we have electricity in here. Last year I didn't have electricity in here, and basically these suffered. I only had one tub and it suffered because I let it grow too thick, the plants on the top, and it created a thermal layer between the plants on the top and the stuff below, so it wasn't quite warm enough. This year is going to be different. In here just now it is about 36 degrees. Oh God, it's so warm. 35 degrees. So what this is going to allow us to do, having electricity in here this year, is it's going to allow us to have some water movement. I'm going to put a couple of sponge filters in here. This is the one I had last year. I'm going to put some sand in it here. This one was my old cod tank. We're going to put some old active substrate in there as well. I have an air pump here. It's raised off the ground because sometimes it floods in here if we have super heavy rain. This black plastic is basically a barrier to stop weeds growing through. The reason we've done it this way this year, guys, as well, is because last year we actually planted in here. If any of you guys watched our previous videos, we planted in here, and we didn't really get much crop from anything in here. But outside, on the other hand, we had millions of zucchinis, we had potatoes, a lot. So we decided this year this is just going to be for seedlings, so this is what my wife's going to do her stuff over here. And I get to have all this side. So that's quite good. We'll probably fill this up with more buckets for plants, etc. So let's get into it, I think. So what I'm going to have to do here is put the substrate in first. So I'm going to use this whole bag in here. This is river sand that has been washed, and it is enough. The reason I'm using this as well, guys, is because I've noticed my shrimp really like to sift through sand. If you ever have a sand tank, sit and watch your shrimp. They basically pick up each grain, throw it to the side, pick up a grain, throw it to the side. So that's why I like using this. This side is going to be the active substrate. Now this came straight out of a tank in the house after a tank redo, so I'm suspecting there's going to be dead Malaysian trumpet snails in here. And I know they're going to be dead because it was, I did this in the winter basically. It doesn't want to come out, there you go. I obviously have some sand in here as well. Let me see, I'll just scoop that out because the sand is good as well. Sand is good. I can actually see some duckweed that somehow managed to live through the winter, the Norwegian winter. I can see some of it there, still green, so there's going to be duckweed in here. A little bit of plastic mesh, which we will use to flatten this out. Still don't know what plants I'm going to put in here. We shall see as we go along. I'd really like to see if I can grow a lot of saltwater tang in one of these tubs. That might not be possible. We'll see. Alright, so that's the first one. Substrate's done. This one's already done. There's a little bit of Java moss in there, even though this has never been used. It must have come from somewhere. Alright, and then the next job is to fill them up. I'm not going to bore you with that though. I'm going to fill them up, and I'll get back to you once they're filled with water. So we are back in the room. You can see the difference in clarity with the active substrate one and the sand. This one is almost clear, this one is a little bit muddy. There's a lot of stuff in this one, so I've brought my net out. I'm just going to quickly clean the surface because I don't want all this junk in the water basically. Alright. I'll probably keep this net out here for this purpose because with it being in a greenhouse there is always lots and lots of dead flies and stuff. Last year it was particularly bad, and I don't want that to happen again this year. It just looks bad as well. Okay, so that's gotten rid of nearly all that gunk. Because this is tap water, guys, I don't think I mentioned this to you as well. This is tap water. I have to remineralize it. Okay, so let's see what I've got here. I've got my salty bee shrimp ready. TDS meter, because we're going to have a look at the TDS right now. Let's see what it says. You have to remember as well, this water is really cold. So that is 56, 50. It's, in my house it's normally about 60, but that's when it's warm. Temperature 14.2, you can see how cold that is. It's getting colder as well. Alright, so our TDS is far too low. I suspect this one might be a little bit higher because it is full of organic stuff. 64, 65. So it's almost the same, it just looks dirty. And I know from experience how much salty bee shrimp I need to add to get this to work. Okay, so in my house I normally have to add 3 or 4 scoops to bring my TDS up, and we need it to be that high here as well, right? And because there's no shrimp in here, I'm just going to add it straight to the water. I'm going to start off at 4. I'll probably leave this overnight as well just to see what the TDS is in the morning. For this I want it to be roughly 250, 300. I want this to be hard because it's going to be Neocaridina that goes in here. 300 would be ideal. I'm going to put 6 in this because this is bigger. Okay, so that's our buffer in. I'm also going to add a whole packet of MILWAUKEE. I'm going to split it in between these two because it's important that you have minerals in your tank as well. It's not just buffers. You've got to keep your bacteria happy. This will all sink, guys. I know a lot. If this was in the house and I was doing it with for like crystals or something, I would do this as a base layer under the substrate, but it doesn't matter for right here. It doesn't matter. Okay, so that's all of that in. And because I have it as well, I'm going to use some miracuton. I can get the lid off one of Roger's little packets here. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Alright, so we're going to spread this evenly between the two. This will also help with minerals. This has slightly more minerals than the Montmorillonite, but this is a little bit more expensive as well, so you pay for what you get. It's going to make the water mineral rich. Alright, so just now it just looks like a slurry, doesn't it? It just looks like rubbish. Trust me guys, watch this when it's finished. I also have a little vial of, this is Kickstart bacteria. I think this contains like 8 different types of bacteria. I'm going to put half in here. Normally use a whole vial for this. I don't have any more, but that's just an extra thing. Alright, and then we have to go on to our filtration. Now these little sponge filters have come out of tanks. This one is out of my cull tank, so this will be full of life. The only worry I have with this is this water is much colder than my cull tank, so I'm not sure if this is going to have any effect on the bacteria. I'm also going to give the sponge a squeeze just to get the gunk out into the water. You see the difference? See it? All the brownness. We want this to cover everything in your tank. The water is so cold, guys. Woo! Right, so we give that little sponge a good clean in the water. Right, and then this one will be in here somewhere. I might have to weigh that down with a rock, I think, because it probably won't stick to the side. Let's see if I can position you somewhere here. Is that good enough? Alright, let's see, just for the video, I'll see if we can stick to this side. This container is particularly rough, so it might not stick. I didn't think it would. Oh, it is there, a little bit. I'll have to use a cable tie and use like a rock on it. Should we plug that in? Oh, okay, let's put the air in. That's a decent amount of air, isn't it? That's going to be a nice little filter for here and here, I think. You see all the duckweed in here already? And then we're going to do the same on this side, but I have to cut some silicone. So there's enough. I have enough outlets in this to do 4 things. So I'm just going to eyeball this length. What I'll probably do, guys, as well is, you know, the filter over here. Can you see it? Where is it now? It's over there. It's too small for you to see. I'm probably going to lift this up and hang it from here somewhere so there's no way of water getting back into it. Okay, so we have our other length of pipe. It's going to go here. I'm just going to split the air pressure on this. Right, and we want it to go all the way to the back. And this filter as well is already set up. This is one that came out of a little planted tank that I had, so we're going to do the same thing again, guys. We're going to squeeze this filter because it'll be full of goodies. You won't really be able to see much because the water is quite brown in here. The water is freezing. It's freezing cold. You know, my daughter's been going swimming the last couple of days. And she says the water's warm, and I don't quite believe it because it's so cold still here. Temperature has been crazy hot here the last few days. Let's get that little sponge filter in. Now I know these sponge filters are incredibly small, but they're much better than I had last year. I'm going to put this one in the center over here. Like so. That should be enough, I think. Let's see. Put some air through it. Might lift this little uplift tube on this up the way. I have a feeling this one will come loose anyway. Just under the water is better, I think, not so much noise. That is good, you think? Let's see, shall we try and adjust the air pressure a wee bit? Because this one's much more powerful than the other one. Let's see, is that any good? Alright, so there you go. This is us set up on our first day. And by I mean first day, guys, I mean this is going to be done over the course of a week because I don't want to rush the shrimp into here. I want the water to gradually build up its heat and stay warm for a length of time. In the greenhouse it will do that. Okay, as soon as it's warm enough I'll bring you back out here and we'll put plants and stuff in here. So until then, one momento, guys. Okay guys, day 2. Let's see how hot it is in here today. Let's feel a little bit hot, a little bit warm. It's a very, very dull day outside and it is that 32 degrees? And I was wondering what that noise is there. Remember I said to you that these pumps would probably float? These filters, well, they did. I had a feeling they would do this, so I brought cable ties. We're going to sink these filters. Let's move this one out of the way. Alright, let's have a little seat, I think. This is pearlweed, in case you're wondering what that is out here. Pearlweed. I'm going to stick you up with the tripod. The water's looking... it's looking a wee bit murky still. It's looking quite muddy, if you know what I mean. Muddy. So I'm going to stick it up on the tripod. I'm just extending the legs in case you're wondering what I'm doing here. Alright, you can go and sit here for the rest of the day. Is that dripping over here? Dripping water, huh? Alright, so what we're going to do now is, I forgot to do this yesterday, is we're going to add a little bit of prime in here because I did notice yesterday that the water I brought in was slightly pink. Now that might be fluoride. I'm not sure if they put fluoride in the water here. But I didn't use prime anyway, and I used tap water, so we are going to use some prime. Seachem Prime is probably the best overall dechlorinator that you can get. It's very, very cost effective. I do believe they have a new one called, I'm saying new, I've never used it, it's called Seachem Safe, is it Safe it's called, I think, guys. Right, so I'm going to put in about 2 mil in here. I'm going to put about 1 mil in each one. It's not a very big amount. Like so. And this will get rid of any contaminants in the water, chlorine, fluoride, heavy metals, etc. At least what it will do is it will give the tank, our basins basically time to deal with what's in the water. Alright? So we have that to do. I'm going to fix these sponge filters first so that they actually sit on the bottom. The way we're going to do that as well is we're going to add the stone here. I'm going to cable tie this stone to the bottom part of the sponge filter, this part here. And hopefully, with a bit of luck, guys, this will sink. It probably won't though. Yeah, I would imagine it will. Please be heavy. Oh, it's starting to work. Look at that, it's like a floating filter. Isn't that cool? See how the gunk is coming out now because it's starting to work again? Alright, so that's good enough. I kind of like that it floats a little bit. So, right, there you go, it's going to propel itself around. We'll do the same over here with this one. This one is really muddy. Really muddy, I can see the water coming out of it. It's a self-propelling filter. We're also going to check the TDS here. If it needs adjusted, we can do that today as well. I'm just fixing this last stone in here. We shall see. If I need to put more weight on this, I will. Another stone. That'll do, I think. I can even put it like that, see? Cut off the excess. It is really muddy, the water coming out of these. Right, and then just plop it in. Oh wow, that one was really muddy. Maybe I shouldn't have squeezed it. Let's see. Yeah, I think this one's going to need another stone. Possibly. Until it sinks. I don't know what I'm going to use for that, guys. What can I use to make it sink? Another stone, something. Alright, we're going to have a look at the TDS while we're here, because I said I would. You hear the other one gurgling. It's like, oh, I'm not heavy enough. 218, 220. Let me get you up here so you can see. 228. Yes, I want this one to be up over 300. I want it to be hard, so the Neocaridina that I put in here have lots of minerals. Damn it, this one sounds so weird. This one's 187. Let's check the temperature. It's actually warmed up pretty fast, I think. 22.4. Remember yesterday it was 14 degrees, so it's warmed up quite a bit. I can feel the difference with my hand as well. It's almost warm enough, I would say, for us to put shrimp in here. maybe another couple of days. So this one's, interestingly, this little one is warmer, so it's heating up faster. It could be with the air pump sucking in warm air and putting it through these tubs. Alright, so what we're going to do is, back leg is not supported. What we're going to do is, we're going to add some more of this salted bee shrimp. So we're going to put another 2 in here because I do want it up higher. So another 2 in here, and we'll put 1 in the smaller tub, I think. Salty bee shrimp. Alright, so that's 2 in each. And then I think that's probably all that we can do for today. I really don't want to put plants in here yet, just in case it's still a little bit too cold for them, because what will happen is if I've put plants from a tropical tank into a tank like this, there's a big chance that they will melt. Okay, so tomorrow, which will be 1 second for you guys, will be the 3rd day. Okay, keep watching. Okay, so let's see what lies ahead. It's been roughly about 4 or 5 days since I was last in here. Whew, it's pretty warm. It is, I don't know if you guys can see that, it's 30 degrees. I was in here 2 days ago and we had a very dull day and it was 16 degrees, so this is why I can't really put shrimp in here yet. It's still not warm enough, it's still very early in the summer here. Look at all these plants that have grown since the last time I was in here. Isn't it cool? Oh, the water has really cleared up. Alright, so let's have a little seat. We'll have a look in the tanks. This one is really muddy looking on the bottom. It's active substrate. This one isn't so much muddy. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to put some plants in today. We're going to also check the TDS and stuff just now. I'll just get my wee TDS meter out. Alright, because I want to know how much mineralizer we still need to put in here, or if we do or not, or whatever. I also want to see the temperature as well. Let's see, what is this? 198, 200. You know, I can actually see the difference in the water level in here. The water's went down a little bit since I was last here. 219, 221, 223. So far the TDS is still a little bit low. 225, so that one's a little bit low. So I'm aiming for about 300 guys with this. This one's 278, so this one's almost there. Let's check the temperature as well. So even though it said 36 degrees in here, it's only 80 degrees in the tub. This is because it was quite a cold day yesterday here. I suspect this one will be the same. I don't think I'm actually going to put any shrimp in here until it is until it's constantly over 20 degrees. Which might be another week or 2. But hey, the tanks will be really nicely cycled. So I think the first thing we should do is adjust this TDS a little bit. This one has a lot to do still. A lot to go in, so I'm going to put another whole scoop in here. I'm just going to spread it out. I'm not even going to mix it because it will dissolve itself. Alright, this one was only 30 parts per million, so I'm only going to give it like quarter of a dose, or half a dose. Let's see. It doesn't matter if it's a little bit over. For these tubs I'm aiming for between 300 and 350. I want this water to be a little bit hard for the neos that are going to go in here. Also guys, as well, when you have a greenhouse with water that is a little bit harder, the plants tend to do a little bit better because they have more minerals to uptake. Alright, so what we're going to do now is, I have some plants here. It's warm enough for plants, it's not quite warm enough for anything else. I don't have a place. Oh, there you go. Right, so what we have in here is we have some saltwater tank I'm going to put in here. It's on a nice piece of wood. Look at the size of this beauty here, isn't it gorgeous? So this one was recently harvested and then it's grown back again itself. This actually came from, you remember the little assassin snail tank that I used to have? This was actually from there, and I can actually see some eggs on here still from then. So I don't know if we'll maybe get some assassin snail babies in here as well. So this can go in here. Ooh. And the water's cold, but it's warm enough for me. If I went to the lake, as an example, I would go swimming in this, 18 degrees. So that can go there. Let's see if you can see that a bit better if I turn that off like that. So I'm hoping this will grow quite nicely in here. Remember guys, I am the minimalist when it comes to planting stuff outside. So the only thing that's really going to go in this tank over here is this little bit of Java moss. Okay? Because I want this to fill up with Java moss, this whole thing. Bloop. The only other thing that's going to go in here as well is some salvia. Tomatoes. I'm trying to pick up the tweezers without damaging the leaves. Right, so we're going to do the same as we did last year, one piece of each. And you remember I put the same size of piece in last year and it covered this whole thing within a few weeks. So that's what I'm looking for again. Same with this one. Doesn't really look like much, does it? But trust me guys, this will cover up really nicely. I have another little bit of saltwater tank that can go in. It'll be interesting to see if the saltwater tank grows better out here as well, because the water is a little bit colder than in the house. Okay, so the next update for this will be, I reckon it will be in another week. You will see the difference in these plants in another week. I suspect these ones in particular will have quadrupled in size, maybe even more, because I noticed with salvia, it does better when it's in a humid environment that is hot. So this greenhouse, the air in here is much hotter than it is in my shrimp room. So this should explode exponentially, I think. Alright, so see you in a little while guys. Bye. Hello guys, welcome back. It has almost been 3 weeks since we last visited these tubs and I'm pretty impressed in how they have turned out. This one last week was getting a bit like green water and had a lot of horrible green algae growing in here. In the past week it has cleared up completely and there's lots and lots of biofilm. Even on the alder cones and stuff that are on the bottom there, they have mycelia growing on them. There's some mycelia growing on the substrate in here as well. This tub looks absolutely fantastic, like you'd want to swim in there. Look how good it is. Pearlweed is growing quite nicely as well. I put these little corks in here with the Java moss on them for two reasons. One is I want more Java moss to grow, but the second one is I want somewhere where insects can climb out the water, climb up and escape, because these tubs can get kind of full of insects, as you see here. See all the insects floating around? And I don't want that. I want them to have a place where they can at least get out of the water for two reasons as well. I don't want them to die in here, and I don't want them to pollute the water. Okay, so today we're going to put the shrimp in at last. I have 10 cherry shrimp in each of these containers. Now these have been drip acclimated already. So this one is for the tub here. You can see the difference in the clarity of the water a little bit, see it? This one's kind of white and this one's a little bit brown. So we are going to put the shrimp in. And by the way guys, the reason I've waited for 3 weeks to put these in is because I've wanted this water to get high enough where it's going to be a constant temperature all the time, okay? The constant temperature now is about 20 degrees inside this greenhouse all the time, which is perfect for these cherry shrimp, because in my house all the time just now it's about 20, 21 degrees, 22 degrees, so it is very good. We're going to release these shrimp into here. Quite a few of them are already buried and have decent sized saddles. And the snails that are actually in here have already been doing fantastic jobs with the algae. I'll show you that in a minute, guys, because I plan to put you in the water so you can see how they've been doing, because along the sides here it was covered in algae and stuff, and the snails have destroyed it. It's the same with this tank. So let's get these ones in. This was the one that was on the active substrate. You might not be able to see them going in just because of the glare. But this top here has way more mold and algae than the other tank. Alright, so there they go in. Out of the two of them, I expect this one to do better than this one, just because it has that active substrate. And I also noticed with the plants I have over here, I put some Java fern in here. And these guys, they actually died right back. They changed colour and everything, and now they're greening up again and starting to grow, so that's awesome. Alright, so this is the cherry tubs as of July, the very 1st of July. You will see this round about that time, start of the month. And what I'm going to do, guys, is I'm going to stop the video here, I'm going to put it into macro mode, and then I'm going to put you into the tanks, okay? And that'll be it for today's video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. I'll catch you in the next one. I will be updating this much more frequently than I did in last year's video. Okay, thank you.